Hey guys, it's Alex. I just had a call that did not go very well, so taking a break, driving home, and gonna clear my mind a little bit before my serving shift tonight. So we had this deal. I talked about it before out in Alabama. It was 40 acres for sale. Um, so I just gave the seller a call. I had to go for another price reduction. Originally, I locked it up at over $100,000 with attorney in fact. So we put it out on the market on the MLS, try to sell it that way. And feedback was that we need to be under 100 to get this thing sold. So I got the seller a price reduction of down to $62,000, and then I just had to go for another reduction of $30,000. So call did not go well. She told me I would go rot in hell. She told me I'm a liar. Said a lot of bad things. So it was not fun getting yelled at. I've had that happen before, but there's some things I could have done to avoid that this time. So I wanted to touch on the mistakes I made for this call. So one of the mistakes I made was I didn't disclose very well what our company does and that we were putting it out on the market and that we were just trying to find a buyer, right? She may have thought we were the buyer and wasn't fully aware of what our business model is. So if I would have just been more transparent up front about what we do, then that conversation could have gone a lot easier. It's not me versus them anymore. It's me and them versus the buyer. So since I didn't talk about the options of cash offer versus let's get it out on the market, take some more time, see what the offers come in at, that was on me. And I led myself into that rough conversation where it was me versus her, and she was not happy with me at all. So just when I used to do this locally, I was completely transparent about what I was doing. I was 18 to 21 years old. Nobody thought I was buying the house anyway, and they were seeing me in person. I was a young kid, so I was very open that I just have a network of cash buyers that are looking for houses, and I can connect the dots between you and them. So I'm not representing each side, but what I do is I'm able to find the right number that connects the two of those, and they knew that. So when I signed the contract down the road, they knew it was coming down the road, or we had to go for a price reduction. They knew it was coming. So, yeah, tough call. Got told I'm going to go rot in hell. That sucked. I got to clear my mind a little bit before I go serve tonight. I can't carry that with me too long, so I'm putting on a podcast or an audio book. I'm going to clear my mind and hopefully have good calls tomorrow. But I'm going to wrap it up for today. That's my tip. Be transparent all the way through. I let that get away from me. I used to always do that, but never let that get away from you. It'll help you in every situation if you're transparent with the sellers about what's going on. That's it. Keep grinding, you guys. You got this. These calls happen. It's okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. What's up, everybody? I got a story of how powerful God is. So I made a video earlier this week in my car after I had a really, really bad conversation with the seller. The seller told me I could go rot in hell. The seller told me I was a liar. So I just have a quick update as to what happened today. This is not something I could do on my own. This takes full power from God and His grace. So I wanted to share this story. So I just got back from work at Egypt Valley serving. And when I was there, I got a call from my partner saying that we had an offer on this property for a lot higher than previously. Previously, we got an offer for 40 or so, and I tried to get the seller to 30. They were at 60, and they were not happy. If you remember, I wasn't fully transparent about what we were doing. So today, my partner asked, hey, can you get them to 55? And previously, I thought the deal was blown up. I had marked it dead on my CRM and called it a loss, right? Didn't think anything could happen from it. So I said, sure, I'll give it a shot. But last time I spoke with that seller, it was earlier this week, and they were yelling at me over the phone. So even with that, I decided to make the call called the seller, and sure enough, as soon as they picked up, they were continuing to yell at me. They were still upset. They were still pissed. They were still calling me a liar, telling me I'm going to hell and everything I'm doing is wrong, because I wasn't transparent, right? But I apologized to them. I tried to calm them down. Somehow on the phone, she went from yelling at me to calm down and willing to potentially take my offer. I don't know how that's possible other than God's help in my life. I don't have this all figured out. I am definitely not perfect. I'm just taking actions and seeing what God will bring. So, yeah, somehow I ran the 55 offer by her and she considered it. She wanted to know the timeline, so I figured out the timeline, called her back, and she said yes. Like, how is that possible other than God's help in my life? So yeah, this could be the first deal in a few years. This could be the first deal in a few years. I just needed to hop on tonight. I just got out of work and I needed to share that story of what God can do. Without Him, I would just be striving and hoping to make things happen. But with Him, it's all possible. So I'm going to keep doing the hard work, and it's up to Him to bring the results. But this is exciting. This is a testimony I had to share. Somehow, from cursing me out to let's maybe do a deal. Let's see. I'll keep you updated. It'd be a crazy one to get to the closing table. All right. Hope you guys are crushing it too. Continue to give the day to Him, and man, some amazing things can happen. All right. I believe in all you. I'm proud of you. Keep grinding. Bye-bye. All right, I'm finally ready to complete this video and post this video. It is now March of 2026. Those previous videos were recorded in August of last year. That was when I was going through something with this seller. Here we are almost, 6 months later, and we finally got this deal to the closing table. It took a lot of ups and downs. As you can see, I'm a little tanner, my hair's a little longer in that last video, and now I'm 6 months older, right? Went through a whole winter from when that video was recorded until now. That deal I had taken on and off the whiteboard at least 5 times. We'd have a buyer and then they'd back out, or we'd have something going and then it's gone. So there was a lot of ups and downs continually with that seller. I learned some extra patience through that deal. As you can see, I was completely in awe of what God could do in a couple days to change someone's tone towards me and change a deal from dead to possible. And since then, it happened many, many times. So I learned a lot of patience through that deal. Those lessons I was talking about how I can only do this with God's help, that was completely true. A lot of times I just gave up and said, look, this isn't going to work out. But He had a different plan. And here we are, March of 2026. It's the longest transaction I've ever been a part of, from contract to close. But I'm really excited to share it did get done. We were able to close on that property for the seller, found a buyer that was able to make it work. Since then, I'm continuing to grow the business, and I'm keeping in mind the transparency that I talked about with that seller. I'm making sure that all sellers know exactly what I'm doing, and it's paid off. We're not having those really difficult conversations and having people get upset with us because they know what we're doing. So I've learned that lesson. I'm glad I learned it early, and it's worked out a lot better. So transparency, working hard on things, and giving the results up to God is working. Another thing I will say from this transaction is that cold calling is really tough. That was a cold call lead. Since then, we've been getting Google and direct mail leads. Those have been a lot more fun to talk to, but cold calling is completely possible. I made a lot of calls to be able to make that happen, but it worked. So just know what you're getting into. It's going to be really tough, but cold calling can still work. But man, it was tough. I will say that. So I've learned to let it go, continue to do the work, and we'll see what happens. But just wanted to share that.